everybody. Welcome back to the ACP Automation Adventure Podcast. We are continuing this interview series with Georgia State University Perimeter College Executive Board. And today we have Victoria Prevatt, and she's going to give us a little bit of information about herself and all of our listeners, especially those college students. You guys listen up. She's got some great things for us. So Victoria, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're so glad to have you. Victoria, let's just dive in. My first question is just tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing, a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, like you said, my name is Victoria. I have spent my entire career working in the nonprofit sector. So I kind of work at that crossroads between fundraising and storytelling and board governance. I run my own business where I work with a lot of nonprofits in that area. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. And you're also, as we discussed, the GSU co-chair of GSU-PC's e-board. Tell us a little bit, like what inspired you to serve on that board?
Yeah, so my first entry point into college was at Perimeter College, and it really shifted my life. It gave me a lot of confidence. I was a first generation college student. My parents were not a ton of help. They were loving and kind, but they weren't really helpful in helping me navigate my college career. So it was a good place for me to start. And this was just a perfect time in my life to give back and to serve in a role for that group and help them be more successful.
That's fantastic. And to go back to your roots to give back, that's always exciting. So what's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you were in college?
Oh my gosh. There's
Everything, right?
everything. Oh my gosh, you're so right. I think what I wish I could have told myself if I could sit myself down and have that conversation would be a couple of things. One, don't be so hard on yourself. Because I was a non-traditional student, I kept feeling behind from my other friends and folks I went to high school with. My path was my path, and it actually worked out great for me. So the comparing myself was a waste of time and energy. And then I wish I'd learned a lot sooner to kind of be friends with that voice in our head that we all have. That's in a constant conversation with ourselves about what's right and what's wrong, and we're judging and we're defending, and we're constantly thinking. And I wish I'd learned a little sooner that the mind is a wonderful servant, but it's a terrible master. So we can we can be in charge of that voice a little bit and help be a gentle guide for how we talk to ourselves.
I think that's so fantastic. I've actually never heard that. Be friends with the voice in your head. Wow, that's something for me. That's great. What would you say is what would you say surprised you most about the professional world that, you were never taught?
Um, let's see. I've had such a unique career since I've worked exclusively with nonprofits. So I believe deeply that people really want to do something meaningful and something that matters. And that our work is a place to really activate our value system. And I don't think I don't think you should be hyper specific. Learn as much as you can about as many things as you can. And, um, I don't think we're looking for super specific kinds of workers. We're looking for generalists, and I think that's a good thing.
That's great. And finally, Victoria, what are the most important skills and traits? You mentioned be a generalist, and that's fantastic and great advice. What are some other skills and traits you believe companies are looking for in prospective employees coming straight out of college?
For me, and I don't think it's just for those of you who are just graduating, but for us at all ages, I look for curiosity. I want people who are curious about the world, curious about the work, curious about how things get done. I have a little bit of a different perspective on, I think we talk a lot to kids about leadership. We talk a lot to adults about leadership, even in the corporate world and even in the nonprofit sector. It's like how to be a better leader, how to be a better leader. And I really think we should consider what it means to be a good follower. early on in my career, I learned to be a good follower. I found leaders that I liked, that I believed in, and then I learned from them. And I think we emphasize leadership too much. Leadership doesn't work if we don't have good people supporting other people's vision and ideas and help them bring those to light. So be a good follower. I mean, of course, we want good leadership skills. That's always going to be important. Be decisive, but be curious about the world. And find people that you believe in and that you want to work with and that have done things that you like and admire, and follow them. You don't have to be a follower forever, but it's not always a bad thing to be a follower.
Wow. That was wonderful. I really enjoy that because, the greatest leaders, as you mentioned, they were followers first and truly were a professional follower. If following was a profession, that was their career.
Yes, right. That is a good way to put that. Yes.
And I like that your piece of advice is that, when you start there, leadership isn't somewhere that you necessarily start. You have to learn in so many capacities what that even means. And then you have to, once you become a leader, I guess, in a specific industry or niche, you have to then, as you transfer over in different spaces, follow again. And so you have to be okay with constantly being a follower, like that theme of always being a lifetime learner. It's like being a lifetime follower. So I really like that, Victoria. Is there anything else that you would like to say in closing?
Well, I just am excited to be part of this. And please, if there's anything I can do for your team or anyone who's listening, just please don't ever hesitate to reach out. This has been a wonderful experience. So
Absolutely. And in closing, we have Victoria Prevatt, who is in the nonprofit sector. She actually attended Perimeter College. That was her first college experience. And that was one that really gave her the support, the foundation, the confidence, and then having that full circle moment of now being a part of the executive board and serving in that same community is really amazing. Some of the things that she mentioned are, don't be so hard on yourself. I love that because we have to remind ourselves, don't be so hard on ourselves. Don't compare ourselves to one another, and be friends with the voice in our head. Also, some things that surprised her, that people want to do things that really matter. And I like that you're bringing that up now in today's time. More than ever, it seems that that's becoming a more prominent theme, that we see people, reflecting on their career pathways or their current careers and saying, what am I doing right now? Am I really impacting the world? With COVID happening, it's really making us all reflect. So I love that. And then finally, some skills, man, curiosity. We overextend and abuse the word leadership. We need to learn to be a follower, and that's where leadership is bred. And then finally, being decisive. Wow, Victoria, I'm going to write all these on my wall so that I can wake up in the morning and look at this wonderful information. It was a pleasure. We look forward to coming back and speaking with you guys soon.
thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.